All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to another Lake of the Woods and More fishing report. This is the first week in February. Weather's still been a little bit tough. The winter of shivers continues. Now, as going into February here, looks like it's going to warm up a little bit. Hopefully, it'll stay that way. Guy can get out and do some hole hopping. Kind of enjoy winter a little bit. January was kind of a rough month. Put out a poll here the other day asking you guys how your January for fishing went. 36% of you said it was mediocre. 31% said forget January, it was bad, and 13% of you said it was pretty decent. So hopefully February, we'll do another poll at the end of February, and hopefully it'll be the best fishing month ever. Now, before we get to the fishing report, a couple of photos sent in by some viewers this week. Joey was out on Devil's Lake, scored this 41-inch northern pike. Nice fish, way to go. Terry was jigging up on Lake of the Woods in the Zipple Bay area. He was using a red and pink rattler. He was fishing 10 feet off the bottom, snagged this nice 23.5-inch walleye. So way to go. If you want to send a picture of a fish that you caught, send it to me at after5outdoors@gmail.com and I'll get you on next week. Now, I don't have a report from Upper Red Lake this week. Wasn't able to get in touch with anyone out there, so we'll shoot straight over to Devil's Lake to Mark Bry's guide service. Mark says it's very similar out there still. Perch, you're looking 25 to 40 feet, but they are starting to find some perch on either side of that number, a little bit shallower and a little bit deeper. They've been throwing PK spoons at them, Lindy flyers, buckshots, forage minnows, Haley's tipped with spikes or minnows. They said if the bite has been a little bit tougher, they're downsizing a little bit, using those tungsten jigs, rat finkies, and smaller hooks with spikes or minnows. Now, as for Walleyes Marks, it's still kind of mixed results. It's been most consistent in 3 to 7 feet of water, so very, very shallow. Mark says shallow is kind of common on Devil's Lake, and most times when you're fishing that shallow, you're not going to see any marks on your electronics. You're just going to get a fish to come in and smash it. Now, the lures they're using for shallow water like that, still buckshots, PK spoons, jig and wraps, slender spoons with a minnow or a minnow head. Now, Mark says as we move farther into February, it usually turns into a basin bite on Devil's Lake. He said those fish are out roaming, looking for easy meals. So you want to be moving around, drilling holes and searching for fish, and try to cause a feeding frenzy. Now, how you do that? Mark says if you catch one in the mud, you see some more down there, you want to get down right away again. Your best baits for that are the spoons, the flyers. Get down there, pound the bottom, cause a little bit of silt to stir up. And if you're marking fish and that's not working, downsize a little bit. Just try stay on top of those fish as long as you can and keep getting them to bite. Now, if you downsize, Mark says a lot of his guides also use pencil weights just to get that lure down faster. If they're using like a tungsten, just to get that lure down as fast as you possibly can. Now, if you can keep on them, you're going to catch some nice fish. Mark's got some limited availability, random throughout the rest of the month of February. If you're wanting to get out on a snow bear trip out on Devil's Lake, make sure you get in touch with Bry's Guide Service. Now, your weather this weekend out on Devil's Lake doesn't look that nice. Friday is going to be about 6 below all day. Winds are going to be 10 to 20. Saturday, a bit of a warm up, 25 degrees, but it's going to dip down to 13 below at night, and could be some snow and 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. Now, Sunday, you're going to be right around 4 degrees all day long, winds 10 to 15. So it doesn't look like perfect conditions out on Devil's Lake this weekend. Now, sticking on Devil's Lake, Mike Peluso's Outdoors. Mike says it's been a little bit of a tougher bite lately, but things are improving. You know, recently it's been a little bit tougher with all this goofy weather. The fish were a little bit negative, but he says he's starting to see that's kind of changing a little bit. Maybe not so much the weather, but the fish's moods are improving a little bit. He says if one word could describe walleye fishing on Devil's Lake right now, it's shallow. Chase those shallow water walleyes with buckshot, spoons, tip them with a minnow or a minnow head. Now, he says, talking about perch, it's deep and finicky. He says keep grinding for perch, deeper water, experiment with some things, start with your spoons, and then, you know, downsize if it's not working. But he says if you keep grinding, you're going to catch some perch out on Devil's Lake. Now, Mike says also smaller sloughs in northern North Dakota are heating up pretty good. A lot of good walleye action, some perch action on them. He says that's kind of a select day bite, very weather dependent. He says on those decent weather days, also Lake Sakakawea has been doing pretty good too. Now, those bites on Lake Sakakawea, your best time to be out there are those low light conditions. Now, Mike's going to be on Devil's Lake the rest of the month of February, but as March rolls around, he's going to switch gears and head out towards the Missouri River near Bismarck. He says if you want a chance at possibly catching a state record or a personal best walleye, that is the best time to get out walleye fishing out in that area. He's got 2 full-time guides that work for him during this time of year, so if you're wanting to get out on Devil's Lake yet this winter, this month of February, or chase big walleyes on the Missouri River, get in touch with Mike Peluso's Outdoors. All right, so moving up on Lake of the Woods out of the Baudette area, talked to Marshall from Lake Road Lodge this week. He says for midwinter, actually the fishing was pretty decent this week. This week they saw a lot more slot fish, and they also saw some big fish out of the slot. Here's a 30 1/4 incher that was caught this past Saturday. Now they're fishing in just a little over 30 feet of water. They're using the gold, pink, blue. Marshall said he's been hearing a lot of talk about the color green right now. The color green seems to be working pretty well up there also. If you got some green lures in your tackle box and you're heading up Lake of the Woods, you might want to try some green. Now your best plan of attack for walleyes up there in Lake of the Woods right now is utilize a dead line with a plain hook. Watch your electronics. A lot of these fish are coming in suspended, especially the bigger fish. Case in point, the picture that we showed you in the beginning of this report, the guy caught a 23.5 inch walleye 10 feet off the bottom. Now, it probably wouldn't hurt to try a spoon or a rattle bait or something like that too to call those fish in. Marshall says probably the best bite window is in that late afternoon to early evening time frame. Now Marshall has some random sleeper availability midweek through February, a little bit of weekend availability left as well. Also has some package deals too, some motels, some lodging. So if you're wanting to get up on Lake of the Woods out of Baudette, out of the Pine Island area, get in touch with Marshall from Lake Road Lodge. Now moving over to the west side of Lake of the Woods out of War Road Swift Ditch, Wes Harder's Guide Service. Wes has his houses set up in that mid-20 depths. He says the fishing is not on fire, but if you grind it out, if you really work at it, you're going to catch some fish. The best method that he saw over the past week, dead stick with a small jig or a plain hook. White sometimes for a plain hook. A white colored hook has been doing pretty decent. Some nice perch coming in, some northern starting to show up. Some decent walleyes have been caught as well out of his houses up there. He says if you're coming up there going on your own, there's a lot of snow drifts, so track vehicle, if you're trying to go off-road, track vehicle is probably the only way to get around. Conditions aren't ideal, but they are manageable. Now you're looking at probably getting close to 30 inches of ice up there, so if you're going up there, Marshall said the same thing, you're going to probably need an extension, especially if you're in a wheelhouse. But if you're going portable fishing, some areas you probably won't need an extension, but some you are going to. Now Wes has some random availability going into February here. Also, as we get towards mid to late February, Wes does some pike tip-up trips. They did really well last season. A lot of nice northern pike being caught on the tip-ups. So if you're wanting to get up on a Swift Ditch on Lake of the Woods, you're wanting to rent a Alumilite sleeper house or a day house, or if you're looking to do some pike trips later on this winter or early spring, get in touch with Wes Harder's Guide Service. Now the weather on Lake of the Woods this weekend, not going to be the best. -1 on Friday for a high, -15. Winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Saturday, going to be a little bit better, 16 degrees. And then at night, we're going to get dipped down to 9 below. 10 to 20 mile an hour winds with a possibility of up to 3 inches of snow on Saturday. Sunday, your high is going to be about 3, and you're going to dip down to -12 at night. Winds are 5 to 10. Hopefully, this will be the last time that we talk about these -30 temperature degree days. I think we're looking at like -33 tonight. These 60-degree temperature swings just don't do anything for fishing, and don't really do anything for fishermen either. I was up last week on Lake of the Woods, picked the coldest day of the week, was the day I was off work, -32 I think, or even 34 or whatever on the way up there. Fishing was really slow. Just caught a couple of dinks, and I caught them on a drop shot rig. I've been experimenting a little bit on the times I've been up there with the drop shot, just setting that rod on a pail and just letting it sit there, and it does work. You can use a split shot too, but I really like that drop shot lure. I really like that drop shot method. I'm trying to get that dialed in. Works very, very well in the summer. Got a video on that if you want to check it out. But hopefully this will be the last extreme cold of the winter, but it is February and we got March yet to go too, so I guess we'll see. Hey, if you want to send a picture or a report, send it to after5outdoors@gmail.com. I hope you can get out and enjoy God's great outdoors, and we will see you on the next one.